Hey everybody, welcome to my world. How's your world doing? Is it as crazy as mine? Well, yeah, everything's going kind of crazy around here. I like a little sanity, but I haven't found that yet. Maybe I need to go to Florida for a little vacation. Hmm? Maybe we could do a remote from Florida. We might try that sometime, but I can't quite do it for a few months, I guess. Anyhow, welcome to my world, and you're welcome to it. And first, before we do anything at all, we have to do a disclaimer. You know, the legal stuff. Well, anyhow, nothing in this show should be considered legal, medical, financial, or investment advice. Take what we say with a big grain of salt, and always do your own research and due diligence. We're not responsible for and expressly disclaim all liability for damages of any kind arising out of use, reference to, or reliance on any information contained in this broadcast. Can I take a breath now? Any persons or characters mentioned are, for the most part, fictional or as close to it as we can get. So sit back, relax, and chill out. No, hey, tell your friends about us, okay? We're here every Wednesday night live. So you want to tell them to bring their snacks, their favorite beverage. Okay, sit back in the beanbag chair or the lounge chair or lay on the floor. I don't care. Just sit back and relax, and we'll have a little bit of fun. I have to do shout outs. Yeah, if I don't do shout outs, all my buddies would be saying, "Hey, you didn't talk about me." So I've got to talk about them. I really do. So a big shout out has to go to, guess what? The Trim Radio Network. And like we always show here on the Trim Radio Network, here's our page. It's trimradio.com. And all you have to do is go to that page and you can see our shows. And like I've said many times before, we have Adventure Waits Around the Bend. It's a radio show and podcast. And it's on Spotify. And then we have Ranch It Up with Tigger and Beck. And that's on YouTube and Spotify. Life Walk with Christ God with Michael Bejas. That's on Rumble, YouTube, and Spotify. Then we have Money and Change every Sunday night at 7 p.m. And that's on Rumble, YouTube, and Spotify. Then we go down to Offsides College Football Top 25. I don't know if Michael Bejas is going to talk about basketball because well, they do have offsides on basketball, not as much. But anyhow, check that out. My World, Live, Laugh, and Whatever, live every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. You can get us on Rumble. You can get us on YouTube and Spotify. You know, I went over to the Rumble site the other night, and I was checking some things out. And boy, I'll tell you what, there are a lot of shows over on Rumble. And when you get to the point where YouTube has a censorship issue, Rumble doesn't have that as much. Not like I go for the wild, nasty stuff or anything like that. I don't. But, our shows are over there on Rumble, and they're good shows. A lot of other shows are over there. My personal favorites on Rumble, gee, what do I have on? Well, of course, we've got our shows on Rumble, but I've also got different shows. I like computers. I like computer programming. And gee whiz, I like to learn more about Linux. Microsoft is getting too touchy. And I was reading something today about Microsoft. Wants you to buy more new computers, and you really don't have to if you go to Linux. Well, anyhow, we'll get into that maybe later. Maybe that will be a whole issue later on. The Positude Podcast, check that out on Rumble, YouTube, and Spotify. And of course, Rascala's Red Pill Reality Show. Give me the red pill or give me the blue pill. Well, I want the green pill. But Rascala hasn't found that yet. I'm going to have to get with him. You know, all I have to do is probably drive about 3.5 to 4 hours, and I can get with Rascala. Maybe I could take my green pill as a gift. No, I don't do drugs. Um, he talks about different things, and it's really good. I mean, I really like that show, and I've been on the show before as a commentator, and it's neat. It really is, and I believe that's Saturday night for 2 hours. So got to check that one out. Also, we have Victoria Smith's Natural Marketer podcast. If you're in business and you want to learn how to do better marketing and more marketing, you have to check out her podcast. Okay, it's on Rumble and it's also on YouTube and Spotify. So you have to check them out. Those are the shows that we have. We'll probably have some more shows coming up. So you have to check us out. Also, how do you support us? Well, it's easy to support the station. You go where it says on our webpage, donate now. You can donate money. You can buy airtime. You can advertise. You can do your own show. Or you can shop the merch. Yeah, shop the merchandise. So if you click on that, maybe it'll work. There we go. The computer's been a little bit slow. I don't know why, but it has been just a little bit. Anyhow, you go to a shop the merchandise and we have different types of things. We cut the bull color morphing mug, and we have spot airtime. You can advertise on that. We have the money and change ceramic mug. Boy, I'd love to have a morphing mug. That would be neat. So it has the money and change logo and everything on it. But then you put something hot in there and maybe $1,000 bill comes up with Alfred E. Newman's picture or my picture or somebody's picture on it. Well, we can put Michael Bayhouse's picture on. Anyhow, buy that one. We've got the custom button. We've got the Bull Eye VIP membership. You can join and donate between $2.95 up to $25.95. I imagine if you want to donate more than that, you could. And we've got the network duffel bag. You can stuff all your stuff in the duffel bag. And we've got the Life Walk with Christ God ceramic ornament. We've got the Trim Radio Network mouse pad. And here's my favorite, the Trim Radio Network 22-ounce vacuum insulated bottle. That's neat to take on trips. It is. And you can get those, and they're not that expensive, and you'd be supporting the show. Okay, so you can take a look at that. And again, we have our listing of shows, and we have our blog. I always wonder why they call blogs a blog. Is it a B log or what? I don't know. Anyhow, if you want to get in touch with us, all you have to do is find this little rectangular box here with the little bull in it, and it says, "Hi there, thanks for visiting the Trim Radio Network. How can I help you today?" Press that button, and it says, "Have a question?" Well, you enter your question below, and a representative will get right back to you. You put in your name, your phone number. You could have your home phone, your business phone, or you could have cell phone. And then you put your message. Hey, I want to go ahead and advertise, or I want to do my own show on Tiddlywinks or whatever, as long as it's clean. And you go ahead and do that, put your name in there, put your email address. That's always good. And you hit the send button. And when you hit that send button, oh, it says required. I can't do that. Anyhow, when you hit the send button, what's going to happen is somebody will get back with you. It'll be instantaneous, and probably the next day, or maybe that day, depends on when you submit everything, you'll get a call. And they'll say, "Hey, we saw that you're interested in the Trim Radio Network. How can I help you?" So just check it out. Okay, you have any questions? Go ahead and click that button. All questions are good questions. Okay. So that's what you need to do there. So that's with the Trim Radio Network. Okay. I keep saying okay too much. Okay. Yeah, right. Okay. There I go again. I got to break that habit. I guess a lot of people in radio and TV and podcasts, they have their own little quirks. Well, anyhow, if you go to our website that we have, actually, it's a Facebook page, and I do a lot of posting there, and you can see some of the stuff I posted. That's what it looks like. And we have our members that are there. It's right now, it's a private group. Eventually, it'll go public, and people's monikers or pictures will go into that site. And it's easy to join. It is. And just let me know you want to join. I'll send you an invite, and that's it. Okay, just no advertising or anything on that page. So what we do here is I post and I talk about it's a live edition, which it is. I might post something by Colby about preparing now, because sometimes it's an important thing we need to post. And so I will go Money and Change or My World and do some posting. Okay. There's just things that you have to, sometimes you have to get the word out, if you know what I mean. And don't take it as gospel. It's just information. And you take it or leave it. That's the best way to do it. And that's the way I do it. I look at all different types of sources on things. And some things I find humorous and some things I don't. But if something is earth shattering or very important, I will put it on both Facebook pages. Okay. There I am. So I'm saying, okay. Boy, I'll tell you what, I need one of those boxing gloves to come out and hit me in the head every time I said, the word. Well, anyhow, here I list all the shout outs and everything. And one of the big things is, I always give a shout out to the University of Findlay. It's a good school. It's located in Findlay, Ohio. It's an NCAA Division II sports school. But it's not just sports, it's academic too. They give out bachelor's, master's, and doctoral degrees. They have about 4,000 students on campus. And I'll tell you what, it's a nice campus. I was just there this past weekend for basketball, and I only get up there a couple times during the basketball season. And the big reason why is because I'm involved in so much other stuff. And when they schedule their games, it's hard for me to go up on a weekday evening and go. So I have to go on the weekends. And usually I hit a Saturday game. And I have a good time up there. But not this past week. I mean, here they were rated ninth in the country. And they came out and they played very flat and they lost to Cedarville University. Had a good team. They did. But they were flat. And as it turned out, they lost by about 6 or 7 points. I got to see the girls' game. They lost by 1 point and they were ahead by 15. So maybe a little regrouping will work there. But anyhow, Findlay is 13th in the country as of tonight. And that's not bad for Division II NCAA basketball. And like I said before, the University of Bluffton is merging with the University of Findlay. University of Bluffton is a Division III school, NCAA, and the University of Findlay is an NCAA Division II school. It'll be an interesting sports season for both schools. Anyhow, like I said, you can get your bachelor's, your master's, or your doctoral degree. It's a great campus, great professors, great students, a lot of them from all over the world. And hats off to Dr. Kathy Fell for being the president of the university. She's really brought things along. They have really good facilities. So you want to check them out, www.findlay.edu. Also, this is number ninth in the national poll. Guess what? The new finding was 13th. But you can see the basketball teams there and so forth. They play a pretty good schedule. And they go as far south as Kentucky Wesleyan University and as far north as Hillsdale College. And I'm going to be breaking my tradition. Oh, there they are, 19th. I'm going to be breaking tradition here in a couple of weeks. And I will go up to Findlay on a Thursday night because they're playing Hillsdale College. And that is going to be an interesting game. And those are my two favorite schools. For some reason, I have maybe four schools that I really, really go to. And Ohio University for football, Xavier University because I got my master's there. But then I have Findlay because I got my bachelor's there. But I also have traveled up to Hillsdale, Michigan, and went to Hillsdale College. And it's a beautiful campus. And it's a great academic school. Trust me, it really is. So you want to check that one out. Oh, hey, we've got to talk about Rusty Duck's custom pens and blanks. I was always going to show you some pictures that Phil over at Rusty Duck's custom pens and blanks makes. And you can see all of his different types of pens. And the center section of blanks here, that's the center section. And he makes those. And he does a lot of custom pen work. And you can see what he's done, as well as his plants. He loves to grow plants in his garden. I've been over there several times. I'll tell you what, he has a good garden, a real good garden. He's got a green thumb, but he's also got, I guess, a green thumb for making pens. And these are the blanks. And he will machine those into pens. I mean, beautiful pens. And you can see here all of the pictures that he has of his pens and blanks. Here he has, I believe this is a letter opener that he made custom. Pizza wheel cutter. He's done that on occasion. He's done a whole bunch of stuff. And I'll tell you what, he does really great work. Also, he makes blanks with pen inner workings. It's great to see it. But anyhow, you can see what he's done. Okay. He does a really good Second Amendment pen. And there it is in the presentation case. He's got a couple of different styles. And so you want to check this one out. Now to activate the pen, you have to cock the pen. And it's neat. It really is. And if you want to get into that type of a pen, you get a display case or a presentation case. You can make them for all different types of people. Okay. You can do them for a fraternity, a sorority, high school, grade school presentation, business presentation pens. And you say, well, gee, where's he done all of this? Well, try Disney World. He's done trade shows in Japan, in the United States. Check him out, Rusty Duck's Custom Pens. Okay. I can't say enough about the guy. He's fantastic. Really is. Hey, I often talk about GMRS radios, and I hold up the radio and there it is, the Ocean 935G Plus with the 177G Nagoya antenna. It gets me 35 miles to a repeater in Dayton, Ohio. Works. Anyhow, you can see on the screen, those are the different sites for GMS radio repeaters. And they're all over. When you really break this down, and I'm just going to show Ohio, Indiana, and Illinois, you start taking a look at everything. Okay. There I am saying okay again. Well, I got to break that habit. You take a look at all this and you have the different repeaters in different locations. There's a map. It'll give you the frequency for the repeater, but you have to have the receiving frequency to get on there. And this is really a great thing. You get out on the road and you can find out what the frequency is for the repeaters in your area and talk to people. Uh, So I was going to say that word. No, I don't want to do that. Anyhow, if you want to shop for different radios, here it is: GMRS radios, FRS radios. They only get a half watt. They don't go very far. GMRS radios can go 5 to 50 watts. And then you have MERS radios, different frequencies, portable radios, mobile radios, antennas, repeaters, and power supplies. You can go ahead and purchase those if you want, and you can get them different places. But I find that mygmrs.com has a lot of them. Okay. Raspberry Pi case. Hmm. I wonder if they make cherry pies. No, yeah, they don't do that. Anyhow, you can take a look at this. Okay. There I am with that word again. Accessories. You can get accessories. You know, everybody has accessories. They have their vacuum insulated tumblers and their color mug. You can get apparel there. Everybody's into apparel and mugs and everything. You can get antennas for your radios. It's really great. You know, I've got several of those GMRS radios. And if stuff hits the fan, if you know what I mean, I've got radios to give out to any of the family members and we can communicate because with your $35 licenses, and it's good for 10 years, your family members can use the radio just as long as they behave. No swearing, cussing, whatever. Okay. There it is, that word again. I have to break myself of that habit. Anyhow, it's a great deal. And you can take them on trips. You can take them if you're going shopping. They make short antennas that you can use. You don't have to get the long Nagoya antennas, but there are a lot of places where you can use these. So check them out, GMRS radios. And it's great to have in an emergency when the phones don't work. These can also be battery powered. Some of them can be charged up from a USB battery. So you want to check it out. Wow, what were we going to talk about? Well, I didn't do the other guys. I can't talk about them. Not what we're going to do just yet. Check out the Big Family Homestead with Brad and Krista. Good people out in Wisconsin. And it's still cold out there. Pecan Grove, Danny and Wanda King. Check them out. They're good people. I mean, everybody that I have on this list, I'd love to have as a neighbor. I don't know if they'd want to have me for a neighbor, but yeah, we'd have fun. Southern Prepper with David Kobler. He talks a little bit about what's going on in the world, what's going on in the economy, what's going on that interests him. Patriot Nurse Rachel, she talks a lot about health issues. She was a nurse for many years in different stages of nursing. And I'll tell you what, she's very, very knowledgeable. And she talks about tinctures, safety concerns, all kinds of stuff. She's a compendium of knowledge. That's a big word. Anyhow, we've got the prepper princess, Amber Stork. Self-made millionaires. She tells you how to live beneath your means and survive. And if the economy goes down the tubes and you hear a big flush, Amber Stork can help you out there. She's really good. Also, we've got Max Col. It's Colby Mac. I need to divide this up a little bit better, but anyhow, it's the Max with Colby, and He usually puts out a video maybe 2, 3, 4 times a week, and he talks about everything that's going on, and it is fantastic. I mean, you can sit there and listen to him. He makes a lot of sense. He's not some wacko, and he's just a farmer from down in eastern Mississippi, just like ah, our good buddies up here, Pecan Grove with Danny Wanda King. They live in Wiggins, Mississippi, and good people. They're all good people, and they express a lot of good things. So you have to check them out. Okay. Hey, did you bring your beverage? Did you bring your snacks? Well, sit back a little bit. Now we can almost get into stuff here. Just to let you know, I found this out on YouTube today. Or not really YouTube, it's a Yahoo. And I was on YouTube and checking a few other things out. CBS News had a thing, USPS, that's the postal service, the guys that bring your mail. They temporarily suspend accepting packages from China and Hong Kong. So if you ordered something from Amazon and it originates in China or Hong Kong, and it was a 2 to 3 week wait, it's going to be even longer. And there's a little trade war going on. And I believe it's a 10% tariff on things coming in. And China said that they were going to give us a 15% in return. Well, we buy a lot of stuff off of China. And some of it's reasonable stuff. Some of it's very good. Some of it's awful cheap. But anyhow, there's this trade war going on. So if you experience things in a delay, now you know why. Anyhow, the article says the U.S. Postal Service announced Tuesday night that it is temporarily suspending accepting packages from China and Hong Kong until further notice. The suspension is effective immediately, the USPS said, and letters and flats are not included in the suspension. So we're looking at packages. The Postal Service did not provide a reason for the suspension or say how long it's expected to last. And earlier Tuesday, Beijing announced it would counter Trump's new 10% tariff. No, go with 15. And that's going to be on coal and liquefied natural gas. Well, guess what? We can get our own coal. We don't need Chinese coal. Natural gas, we've got our own. Anyhow, we'll see what happens with that one. So if you get a package delay, you want to get that GMRS radio, and it's a brand new whatever. And I won't name all the manufacturers because there are a bunch. And you suddenly have to wait. It's because of that situation with the 15% tariffs and the 10% tariffs. Okay, they'll work that out. It's a negotiating thing. It's all negotiate. That's how Trump does things. He goes and he negotiates. He's a very good negotiator. Maybe he could negotiate me drinking Diet Coke or Diet Pepsi. I don't drink that stuff. I'll stay up all night. One way or the other, I'll be up all night. So anyhow, check out your packages, and it's going to affect Amazon and a few other people for a while. And eventually they're going to sit down, they're going to talk, they'll get everything ironed out, everything will be hunky dory, as some people say. Everything will be copacetic. So we'll check into that. Hey, there was some stuff I was looking at all this week. Have you ever heard of Doge? I kind of wondered about that. And I was looking at presidential powers and so forth. And I was looking at powers of appointment. And some people are saying, well, Trump can't do this. He can't have Doge. It's not legal. They haven't been voted on by the Senate. Well, he doesn't have to do that. I found this out. The president must also appoint his staff aides, advisors, and assistants. These individuals are political appointments and are not subject to review by the Senate. All members of the staff serve at the pleasure of the president. Since 1995, the president has been required to submit an annual report to Congress listing the name and salary of every employee in the White House. Well, what happens if they're working for free? Does he have to do that? You're probably going to see some legal stuff coming up. I mean, they'll argue it out. And this thing with Doge, Department of Governmental Efficiency, we should have had one of those probably 30, 40, 50 years ago to see how the government actually operates. Because it's interesting. It really is. I mean, who's getting a payback under the table or a kickback? Or why are we spending, hypothetically, $30 billion for the study of fleas and the effect of cocaine on fleas? That doesn't make sense, does it? It's kind of crazy. So where's all of our tax money going? Tax season is coming up. I mean, I started getting stuff in and I've piled it up. I haven't even worked on it yet because somebody's always late. You have to wait on things to come in, and accountants are very picky people. But anyhow, you go ahead and tax season's coming up and you look at what you have to do, and it has to be in by April 15th. I believe it's midnight of April 15th. So you want to get your stuff in early. And you've got other taxes. Here in Ohio, I had property tax I had to pay. And so you can pay it twice a year, which I do. And it has to be in by I believe, 14th of February or 15th of February. So anyhow, I had to get that in. And so I just mailed it today. So we'll see what happens. It's all paid for the half. So I think I'm in good shape. I could have paid for the year, but nah, I'll need the extra money for other taxes. I did a study one time. I think we have 98 or 99 taxes that we pay: gas tax, property tax, death tax, not in Ohio, but there's a death tax out there, sales tax. There's a tax and tax and tax. What do they do with that money? I have no idea how they bring all this money in. And maybe, well, I can't bring it up. I'll have to set it up for maybe Money and Change this Sunday. The National Debt Clock. It's usdebtclock.org. And it shows how much money supposedly that Doge is saving. It also shows how much we're spending. It shows how much we're taking in, among other things. A lot of real-time data there. You have to check it out, us.debtclock.org. So you want to check that one out. I was looking at some stuff on X, and I zoom all over the place looking for different things. And the Department of Government Efficiency posted something, updated on DEI-related contract cancellations with full detail. I'm thinking, well, how did they get all this information? Well, there's a bunch of researchers that go in and they find this stuff. And they could be accountants, they could be engineers or whatever. And from what I understand, they're doing this for free. And they're finding the data and they're documenting everything. So you know how your money's being spent. So this is the chart that came up, and it's got the Bureau of Land Management The ceiling value of one contract is $389,494, and savings was $169,712. But then you go down and you start looking at Department of Health and Human Services, 15 contracts at $59,345,000 and $341. Savings, if they cancel, I think these are all canceled. Yeah, canceled contracts. They saved 28,187,448. Well, you look at the total at the bottom, the grand total that was authorized to be spent was 1,259,000,000,000. No, my eyes are crossing. There's too many numbers. Oh, let's see. 1,259,365,178, and they saved through cancellation 1,060,792 through the cancellations. Okay. And they have that. So basically, a billion has been terminated within the Department of Education, GSA, OPM, EPA, DOL, Department of Labor. No, I don't know. It could be labor. Treasury, the DOD, the DEA or DSA, DSDA. I'll get it right. Commerce, DHS, VA, HHS, State, NSF. NRC, NLRB, National Labor Relations Board. I used to know an attorney there. PBGC, peanut butter and jelly. No. USAID, RRB, whatever that is. SSA, Social Security. Yeah. BLM, CFPB, NPS, and NOAA. Okay, so they're saving some money. That's great. Where was the money going to go for what? I'm just finding this stuff out on X, and I'm looking at this stuff, and they've got spreadsheets and everything else in here. It's kind of interesting because you kind of want to want to learn what's going on. The Office of Personnel Management, the HR department, frequently ask questions because they're going to furlough a bunch of people because they're going to eliminate certain agencies. They're going to make things a little bit more efficient. And hopefully those people can go ahead and apply for jobs that are already available on the regular market. And the one question was, am I expected to work during the deferred resignation period? Well, the answer is no, except in rare cases determined by your agency. You are not expected to work because you're getting a deferred payment. Basically, it's going to be a buyout. And so if there's a department that's not going to be really functional, it just sits there and they have a stack of papers and they maybe read the newspaper, play on the computer, talk on the phone, but don't do anything. Those guys are probably going to get a notice saying their job's been canceled. In private enterprise, that would happen. Well, anyhow, there's so much information there, so much. And I find it interesting because they're actually showing documentation. So where's our money going? Well, the Department of State and USAID, USAID, you can find it on performance.gov. Does the USA give grants? And you click on this and it announces assistance opportunities for grants and cooperative agreements of grants at grants.gov. I'm getting tongue-tied anymore. And what's the oldest department of the U.S. government? Department of State. And eventually USAID. There's been so many questions asked on this one that the USAID, I think, is going to be moved into the State Department. And eventually I think they're going to cancel it. The reason being that they're finding that money is going different places. And this is what Doge has been finding. So here we have 16, I'll call it 0.21 million went to Ukraine. Ethiopia got 1.676 million. Jordan, so much. DRC got 936 million, and it goes on. So that's where the money's going, according to Statista. And generally, they're pretty accurate. And then you take a look at, well, gee, what was it going for, and so forth. And then Doge is looking at Social Security. Where's our money going in Social Security? So here's our first video. Check this one out.
I mean, we got people that's getting ready to retire that's going to try to live off $2,000 to $3,000. Impossible. It's impossible. Because
That's right.
what happens, it comes up here, we spend it. We're 35 trillion in debt. We don't have any money. We're dead broke. And then taxpayers have $2 trillion in credit card debt. We are in huge trouble. In this body, we had better start figuring that out, because we're going to have a run on this city here soon, and there's going to be about 150 million people coming up here saying, where's our damn money that we paid in? I could have put my Social Security money 4 years in tax in the market and probably be worth 8 to 10 million today. But the federal government wasted it. So I'll get off my horse there. It's good we have this, because we got, I get a little pension check from education. I was part of a union. It's not going to help people. People are going to have to work, continue to work longer and longer. Am I right, Ms. Jennifer? Can you say something about Social Security and it being taxed for some reason? We're taxing people for the second time on the Social Security that they put into an account.
Yeah, and I'd like to point out, when Social Security was first founded, those who established it, it was started out as a 2% tax, and they said this will never take more than 6% of your income. Today, it takes 12.4%, and depending on whether you go with CBO or Social Security trustees, it needs to take between 15.8 and 17.5%. So we're talking about thousands of dollars more per year. It also was actually only originally recommended that the tax be up to $66,000, equivalent in today's dollars, of earnings. But over time, it has expanded massively, and the money has been spent every year. So whereas everybody thinks this money's been set aside for me, no, for the past 13 years, every dollar that has gone out of workers' paychecks has gone immediately to pay promised benefits. And that's what happens when you have a system that enables those in charge of it to spend the money in the immediate term and leave the buck to the next generation that's coming along. And because Social Security has grown so much, it's actually to the detriment of lower income workers in particular, who have to pay such a large share of their tax, their paycheck, to Social Security. They have little left to save for retirement. And then lower income and African American workers have the lowest life expectancies. So they are the most likely to get nothing back in return. 1 out of 4 African American men will die between the ages of 45 and 64 after having paid into this system for decades, tens if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they might get nothing back.
What's the solution?
I think we ultimately have to shift towards a universal benefit system. That's what true social insurance is. It does not make sense that we are paying the biggest.
Ask me all the time, Dad, will I ever see any of that money? Will they see it?
I think they will see some of it. That's the exact same thing I hear whenever I ask a group of younger workers, and none of them raises their hand. So I think that there will be something there, but it's not going to be what has been promised.
Mr. Stevens, you got anything to add to that?
Thank you, Senator. What I would add is, when we talk about Social Security or we talk about pensions, the two things that they both have in common is that guaranteed income. You know what you're going to get, generally speaking, at the end of it. what I reference in terms of protected retirement, we have developed now solutions that get at both of those in a very efficient way. And we also address the issue around market volatility because we have step-ups and lock-ins. It's a very efficient way to deliver that to millions of Americans that we've been talking, and that's all because of what you all did around Secure Act 1.0 and 2.0. They have put us in a position to do that. And that's why I'm really encouraging us to have every 401k plan, 457 plan, 403b plan add at least one of those solutions so that the American workers can choose if they want to know what they're going to get in retirement. We can deliver that for them.
Young people of all ages ask me, why can't we put our money in our own 401k instead of put it in Social Security? Is there an answer to that?
I think what I love is that they're asking the right question. Savings in any way is a good thing. And I think there's a place for Social Security, there's a place for pensions, and there's certainly a place for what we're doing in 401k plans.
Thank you.
Senator.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. When I retired, I got a letter from Social Security and they said, well, you're supposed to get $750 a month because you worked in the private sector. And I thought, okay, this is great. And then I got another note saying, this is a couple months later, oh, sorry, you're only going to get $250 a month because you also worked in state government. So basically, I'm getting gypped out of about $500. Well, I don't think that that's fair, but that's my viewpoint. Okay, maybe Doge will be able to figure this stuff out. On a lighter note, you know, we had Groundhog Day. Did you go out and celebrate Groundhog Day? You know, some people take it real serious and they go out and they consider going to Pennsylvania, for example, and they go to Puxatawny, Pennsylvania. I can pronounce it, but I'll be darned if I can spell it. But anyhow, they go and they wait for this groundhog to come out. And if he sees a shadow, he goes back in the hole. If he doesn't, he wanders around a bit. Well, here's what the Groundhog Day is. In Pennsylvania, German, Grunsaudog, 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 Murmeltiertag, Lunenburg, Nova Scotia Docks Day, and it's traditionally observed regionally in the United States and Canada on February the 2nd of every year. And they went on to say, you know, if he sees a shadow, you get 6 more weeks of winter. Sometimes it's true and sometimes it's not. I mean, we had really good weather here in Ohio for a couple of days and it warmed up. And now we've got ice storms coming in. It got cold. It was like 35 degrees out, but it felt like it was 22. I can't wait till spring. And it's a good thing. I believe that the groundhog didn't see a shadow, and that's a good thing. But you never know. Sometimes, you know, weathermen, you know, they always lie. Weather is hard to predict. Well, anyhow, it goes on to say, while tradition remains popular in the 21st century, studies have found no consistent association between a groundhog seeing its shadow and the subsequent arrival time of spring-like weather. The weather lore was brought from German-speaking areas where the badger, or the duck, is the forecasting animal, while in Hungary, for example, the bear serves as the same purpose, and the badgers were only watched when bears were not around. I want to tell you something. I don't want to watch bears because they get grumpy when they come out of hibernation, and badgers are always grumpy, no matter what. Well, anyhow, the groundhog ceremony held at Puxatawny in western Pennsylvania, centering on a semi-mythical groundhog named Puxatawny Phil. has become the most frequently attended ceremony. Grunzau Lodge in Pennsylvania, Dutch country, in the southeastern part of the state, observed the occasion as well. And other cities in the United States and Canada also have adopted the event. So let's see what went on.
Red carpet upon the snow. Moonshine, place to stroll. Uh-oh. Gentlemen, gather around. It's a tradition to get Phil fired up by chanting, Phil! Phil! Good morning. Good morning, buddy. Good morning, buddy.
All that nonsense for that groundhog. I mean, the groundhog's in there and he's comfy in his nest, and these old geezers go in there and jerk him out of there and hold him up to everybody. And he's going, I want to go back in. You know, I probably had a little fifth of, happy sauce in there. I was having a good time, but no, you guys had to wake me up. Okay. Well, anyhow, guys, what happens in Wrinkle City? They have it too. They do. Well, it's the day of prognostication, and Delbert G. Hogg says early spring, and you could see Delbert being held in the arms of one of the guys on the top hats, you know. And the story goes on a cloudy, snow-packed day in Forest Hill Park, Delbert G. Hogg, cousin Biden, Plugs Hogg, was pulled from his cozy den and showed to the assembled, bundled crowd of onlookers, eagerly waiting his prognostication if spring would be early or we would have 6 more weeks of the dreaded cold, snowy stuff. Well, Biden said, 6 more weeks of the crappy stuff. I'm the heck out of here. Well, Biden was placed on the ground and wandered around trying to remember where he was, went into his den, brought out his suitcase, and told the onlookers, I'm out of here. And going to Florida for some fun in the sun with Delbert. Chill out and watch some babes on the beach during spring break. Can anyone tell me which way Florida is? Biden said. Needless to say, the crowd cheered and Mayor Suey ordered the city workers to put away the snow plows and salt. Go figure, huh? Also in the Wrinkle City, you could read about the Golden Boys at the sports convention and going to the booze factory. Flu season is here. Get your shots. Okay. Guns. Wow. Nuns with guns go to patrol Wrinkle City. You have to check them out. You got to get that article. Where do you get it? Wrinkle-city-gazette.weebly.com. It's there. A lot of the editions are there. You have to check them out. And I'll tell you what, there was a blonde one time, and A trucker stops for a red light and a blonde catches up. She jumps out of her car. She runs to the truck. She knocks on the door. The trucker lowers the window and says, "Hi, my name is Heather." Or she says, "Hi, my name is Heather, and you're losing some of your load." And the trucker ignores her and proceeds down the street. When the truck stops again for another red light, the girl catches up again. She jumps out of her car, runs up, knocks on the door, and again the trucker lowers the window as if they've never spoken. The blonde says, "Hi, my name is Heather, and you're losing some of your load." Shaking his head, the trucker ignores her and continues down the street. Well, at the third red light, the same thing happens again. She's all out of breath, and the blonde gets out of the car, runs up, knocks on the truck door, and the trucker rolls down the window. And again, she says, "Hi, my name is Heather, and you're losing some of your load." And when the light turns green, the trucker revs up and races to the next light. Well, when he stops this time, he hurriedly gets out of the truck, runs back to the blonde. He knocks on her window, and after she lowers it, he says, "Hi, my name is Kevin. It's winter in Ohio, and I'm driving a salt truck." Well, guys, you can check everything out. Wrinkle City Gazette. Even love is in the air. It's Valentine's Day, February 14th. Hey, did you get your favorite person a Valentine's Day gift? Come on, guys. Don't forget the ladies. Make sure they get a good gift, okay? Hopefully they give you one. Hopefully. But anyhow, don't forget Valentine's Day. I went out to Walmart today and it was all over the place. I mean, they had cards, candy, all kinds of stuff. Hopefully you don't run into an angel like the one here in the Wrinkle City Gazette. Well, hey guys, I hate to tell you, it's about time to skedaddle out of here, because if we don't, we'll go into the next show. So what I want you to do is get your Valentine's Day gift. If you got property tax you got to pay, make sure you get that paid. Be safe on the roads if you're in Ohio, and we're going to have icy streets all night tonight. But with that, guys, have a good week. We'll talk to you next week on my world. Hopefully your world's a better world than mine, because mine's been awful crazy lately. And join us for Money and Change every Sunday at 7 p.m. right here on the trimradio.com channel. Okay? See ya.
In a world drowning in noise, where truth is often buried beneath layers of propaganda and misinformation, there's a need for a different kind of a network of creators that cuts through the clutter, that doesn't shy away from tough topics, and that delivers the unfiltered truth. We are Trim Radio Network. We are creators, we are innovators, we are investigators. We're the ones who aren't afraid to call a spade a spade. If you're ready to participate in thought-provoking discussions, informational topics, and of course today's biggest headlines, subscribe to our YouTube channel today. We're Trim Radio Network. We're cutting the bull and serving the truth.